Hey there, welcome back to Askamy. I have a question today from Gillian. So, Gillian says, I'm not sure I have a habit that helps me relieve myself of any thoughts or anxiety. I just cope with them every day. I've not really found something to relieve them and consider my anxious thinking to be my habit, but it doesn't give me a sense of relief or relaxation. So let me just mention that Gillian is saying this based on having read the Little Book of Big Change, where I talk about how our habits, for the most part, give us some sense of comfort. That doesn't mean they feel good. It just means that's the design of them, right? That's our habits are something that our mind comes up with to try to try to help us avoid or cope with or not feel something. So that's the intention behind it. It doesn't mean they feel comfortable. They almost never do. They don't really, they meet that intention, but not in a very great way. But it's an excellent question that she has here about with anxious thoughts that feel super habitual and repetitive, and it's so clear that they're a habit. Where's the relief? like where's that part in this? So I'll finish her question. She says, so I guess my question is, can my habit just be horrible anxious thinking, not something to relieve the horrible anxious thinking? Yeah. So is the thinking itself, could the thinking itself be the habit? She says, could it be that I'm more addicted to thinking negatively, which makes me feel bad, not relaxed and peaceful? Can I actually be holding on to horrible anxious thinking because I'm uncomfortable with feeling good? Is that possible? She says, just trying to figure out exactly what my habit is because I don't do anything to make myself feel better, but it seems I do it to feel worse. Okay, so it's a great, great question, Jillian. And it does seem like that, and I see why it's so confusing. It does. It feels like, wow, nothing is helpful in this. It just runs and it happens and it feels terrible. There's no outlet. With most people who have a behavioral habit, the behavioral habit is the thing that's being done to not feel this stuff that you're feeling. So we have a racing mind. We feel all kinds of emotion. Our mind suggests something. Eat this, drink that, buy this, whatever it might be. And that suggestion is often what becomes the habit. But again, that suggestion is something a mind sees to do in a moment of discomfort to help us feel better. So it's not that eating or drinking or buying uh, are really all that comforting, but I suppose relatively so they are. In a moment of feeling really horrible, a suggestion has popped out. We do it. It does seem to distract us a little bit or take the edge off our experience a tiny bit, and not as much as we would want. But our mind remembers, our brain remembers because it's so smart and it's always looking for something that worked. So it can just be super efficient, cut to the chase, know what to do, and then that habit starts to feel like survival, like a matter of survival. So for you, Jillian, as you're saying, there's none of that. There doesn't appear to be any of that. There just appears to be this being caught up in what you call horrible anxious thinking. So what I want you to see is that yes, the habit is not always a behavior. Our psychology is habitual. Your psychology is habitual. The fact that these thoughts and feelings arise, that's a habit in itself. Now, I wouldn't call that your habit. I wouldn't really call any habit our habit, like we own it, we're doing it on purpose. No, none of that is true. But see if you can sense just the habitual nature. I know you can because you feel it. You can sense the habitual nature in your experience. So it's almost like the body mind machine has a habit. It has a lot of them. It needs a lot of them to stay alive. But in your case, it has this running hot, what you call this horrible anxious thinking. That's the body mind's habit. And what I want you to see is you aren't that body mind. You aren't even close to that body mind. You aren't anything that we could anywhere in any universe equate to that body mind. You are aware of what's playing out. You're feeling what's happening. Now, the fact that you kind of keep calling it this horrible anxious thinking, and I get it. I mean, it doesn't feel good, but that's what I want you to see as a misunderstanding and really kind of what keeps this habit alive for people in the case of anxiety. So I did a podcast I want you to listen to. Anyone who's interested in this, it's number 154. It's called Where's the Habit in Anxiety? That's the name of the podcast. It's about this question exactly, because many people have asked this, right? Like, well, where's my habit? I just have anxious thoughts all the time. The habit in anxiety, just kind of hold this loosely and see what resonates. The habit when we're feeling anxious is, again, I'm just going to point to it because you say it a lot in here, this horrible anxious thinking. That's showing us that you aren't just feeling life show up, right? You're in there with it. It feels like it's happening to you. It's horrible. You don't like it. All of that adds up to a lot of resistance. Now, Gillian, I'm not saying that you are resisting. You're not doing this on purpose. It's not that you're doing anything wrong, and I'm not at all saying that the way you're being with your habit is your anxiety is making it worse or anything like that. But I do want you to see you're not anywhere close to neutral around this, right? You don't like it. You don't want it there. All of that adds up to a lot of resistance. And when anything moves through, it just wants to move through, be felt, and keep moving. It's like waves crashing on the shore. They just crash and they go back to ocean. There's nothing personal about it. There's nothing dangerous about it. As crazy as it sounds, the exact true is this exact same thing is true for us in our experience, even when it's anxiety, even when it's depression, even when it's phobias or obsessive thoughts or anything like that. It is life expressing itself and then going away and changing form. And yes, it may come back. But in that moment, it's still just life expressing itself. And then it goes away. And then it changes form. And maybe it comes back. But in that moment, it's life expressing itself. And then it goes away and changes form. And that's always happening. That's always happening. So what starts to happen when you're a human being is we have a lot of opinions and we know what we want to feel and what we're okay with and what we're not okay with. And so when life is expressing in certain ways, we're like, that's not cool. I am not okay with this. And everything in us is resisting it and kind of pushing and calling it horrible and not liking it. And unfortunately, that gives us a very different experience of it. Now we're not experiencing life, that we still are. I mean, it's still just life expressing itself. It doesn't change the truth about it. But your experience now is what hurts. And your experience is one of pushing and resisting, and I don't like this, and this is horrible, and all of that. That's actually, this is crazy, but that is actually anxiety. It's not what you're feeling. It's not energy. Yes, the energy may be a little faster, but no more so than if you were to voluntarily ride a roller coaster that you love. I mean, energy moves, energy's slow, it's fast, it's whatever it's doing. What's going on here that makes this feel like a problem is you don't like it and you don't want it there. And that's the habitual misunderstanding that comes up when we feel anxious. So I don't think it's that, for the most part, for anyone, you ask, could I be holding on to this because I'm uncomfortable with feeling good? Our nature is feeling good. I don't think we're uncomfortable with that. Now, that doesn't mean we don't get used to things. That doesn't mean there's not some comfort and familiarity, maybe. But I don't know that it's that. And you check, it doesn't matter what I think. You check in with yourself, Gillian, and see if that feels right. I think it's what I see in people across the board is it's this innocent misunderstanding. It's a misunderstanding. When something arises, we try to push it away rather than truly seeing it for what it is. You don't have horrible anxious thinking. You have this energy plus a bunch of habitual story around it. So I talk about this a lot in my new book, Just a Thought, and in a lot of things I've done in the last few years. Experience, emotion is just energy with a story. Anxiety is just energy and then a habitual story that gets attached to it. So look at that. It's not horrible in and of itself. That's the habit, is your mind calling it that and then resisting it a little bit. So I hope this helps in some way. I really want everyone to see that if we could truly see experience for what it is, if we could truly see our nature for what it is, there would not be a problem to be found anywhere. And that doesn't mean we wouldn't feel all kinds of variations of energy and all kinds of human stuff, all kinds of experience that we feel. We would. But we wouldn't be able to find a problem with it. The reason it feels like horrible, anxious thinking is because it feels like it's happening to a separate you. And because there's when it feels that way, there's a sense of this shouldn't be happening, I don't like it, and there's a lot of resistance baked in. When we come to see, experience, emotion, all of it for what it truly is, all of that starts to peel away and fade away. Truly, truly, you can feel anything, and it just isn't a problem when you see it for what it is. And anybody can see it for what it is. Anyone can. This is not just for special enlightened people. I mean, anyone can come to see any old experience in a brand new way, and it really, really starts to change it. So listen to that podcast, Gillian, and anyone who's interested. It was number 154, because it speaks about this in a lot more detail. Thank you for sending your question, and I'll see you guys back here next week. Have a great week, everyone.